meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District Board of Directors to order on March 8th at 12 p.m. We have 4 board members present. Our first item on the agenda is to receive the comments from the public. So,
Okay, what I guess this is kind of different than we normally have, because we usually have, 3 or 4 people that make presentations, and it seems that a decision has kind of been made, and we didn't have everybody out here for the board to decide. And just last year, when we did engineers, we had about 4 or 5 people. And we got rid of that engineer because, in addition to being our engineer, he was also working with the developer in Charleston. So I think you really need to be sure we get somebody who has no connections to the past. And I've got a question on this that I got at the last meeting. This was the invoice sample. Tom, where'd you get this?
What?
This invoice.
It's just an example that we had.
It's a sample bill to the customer
Right, I know.
from,
I
I think it's from these folks.
I don't know whose it is, but they're all the same.
Well,
They all use the same
yeah,
format.
well, the thing is, I saw the same one in Muniops, but their name was all scratched out. And you're saying this is from WDM.
Ours would have the logo on it. Ours had
See,
a
it doesn't. This is from Muniops. It was in their proposal.
Oh.
But it was given to
No,
us
they're
as
not.
being yours.
Well, it,
No, it does. It makes a difference, because you're gonna have 2 different types of invoices. People should be able to see that. Okay, I'm gonna mention this too on the industrial site that you're looking at for here. I don't think
On the
anybody.
what?
Well, it's gonna be an industrial site
Oh.
if you lease it to a management company. And I don't think anybody wants that here in our community. And then you're looking at the personnel is a big problem. Well, the thing is, personnel are great. They're gonna be hired by somebody, they're not gonna lose their jobs. I think you really need to focus on what's important to the people here. And that is quick response to their problems. That's it, that's all anybody really cares about. So that's it for me
okay,
at this moment.
okay, all right. Lulu, do you have anything?
No, I don't have
You're
any
good?
comments.
Okay. Okay, so do you have a presentation, or do you want us to ask questions, or?
Oh, we're ready to take questions. I mean,
Okay.
Y'all seen our information
Okay,
and make sure that we get through all the questions that y'all might have.
okay, all right.
And you guys are waste,
They're the WDM.
W-
Okay.
okay.
Did you get their, did you
Yeah,
get the proposal?
I
Richard
looked,
sent this
I
one?
looked through.
Okay,
I didn't print it off.
okay. Well, I did just because I had
One
to
was
make notes.
38 pages and one was 18, I believe.
Well, Sarah brought some copies if y'all need.
Yeah.
If you need a copy.
Thank
This
you.
is, kind of walks you through the whole transition if you guys were
Thank
to
you.
elect us to start operating. All the way from
Okay.
notifications and onboarding.
Okay, oh, this one's different, okay,
And then there was a contract at
okay, okay. So do you have any questions?
I just wanted to go over the questions that we have already asked them,
Okay,
so that the board knows what's been asked, and if
Okay.
you have any additional questions, we're not being redundant. What we asked them was, are you compatible with our RVS software? And they could be, but they use AVR, which seems to be an industry standard, right? It's pretty much a standard.
A lot of operators use it.
Can you work with our manual meters?
So we're
Yes.
open to using the RVS system, or we have used AVR in the past, and I believe it's a little more enhanced as far as capability and delivery, message centers, and service agents. And
okay,
Very good. Can you work with our manual meters? And yes, I can.
okay.
Do you have a customer service center for billing issues, complaints, or payments? Yes, they do. Will you service our current billing drop box? Yes. Is there a charge for processing and mailing of monthly bills? Essentially, no. They use FBS, they use e-checks, and whatever dollar fee is attached to it. David said that you cover that dollar fee, correct?
For the e-checks.
For the e-checks.
Now, for the AVR, there's a charge for AVR for them processing the bills.
And AVR is credit cards or what?
No.
So the AVR fee is, so you can view all the customer account information. Every account has a profile, I'm sure the RDS does as well. And then in the closeout process, when the bills are generated, so the actual bill, that has, all your usage consumption on it, there's a fee that they charge that we put on our office supplies.
So you have like a portal, like a
Yes.
customer portal?
Yes, this is separate. So AVR, that's the bill. FBS is where they pay online. And
Okay.
like he was saying, David pays the $1 e-check fee, so that's a huge hit across all our districts because he absorbs that. But there's the 3.99% credit card fee that FBS charges that I believe all credit card companies charge.
Okay.
Okay. What's the fee for the AVR, do you know?
I can.
And is that a customer choice of whether they want that, or is it a district choice?
It would be the district.
Okay.
It's not passed on to it's not a customer fee.
Got it.
It's like
Okay.
office supplies fee,
Got it.
basically, to be able to generate and send out bills.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
No,
Question?
I was just gonna suggest if we turned that a little bit, they could see Davis and them.
Oh,
What's that?
well, okay.
Do I need to move?
No, he was just saying if we turn the laptop, but then they probably couldn't see us.
That's right.
No, and really, let me say, I think y'all are asking good questions, and we're asked to be here, be on, and just here if you need us. So,
Okay.
you just let us know if you have anything. So
Okay.
Okay.
familiar with MDS and their, WDM and their
Yeah.
work, and I think y'all are in great shape, so.
Okay.
Okay. What is your cost to disconnect? And they charge $25. And they have the same program as we do, is that they don't disconnect on Fridays or holidays.
Okay.
They give the opportunity for the customer to make good before a weekend.
Okay.
And their cost to reconnect is also $25.
Okay.
Key contacts are gonna be both Sarah and David. Very reliable. Location of their office is on Old Louetta Road at Spring Cypress. Their hours of operation are 8 to 5 and 7 to 4 for the construction guys. So they'll have people on duty to do disconnects and what have you until 4 o'clock, correct? Okay?
Disconnects and reconnects. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we have someone in the area that's working, until 5 o'clock, of course, that'll be available as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Their emergency rate and their holiday rate is time and a half. Let's see.
Which
They-
holidays?
Oh, there's a list of them.
They do
There
have
was
a
like
list of
9 or 10
holidays.
in here. Yeah, it was in there. I'll show it to you as soon as I find it.
That's good.
It would be pretty much the same one across all of them.
Yeah.
It's in here somewhere. There it is.
No Mardi
Basically,
Gras? No Mardi Gras?
no more. Effect Tuesday.
I'm sure our folks would appreciate that.
You need to work on that. Will they be able to maintain our park and green space? No, that's not a specialty of theirs, but they do have relationships with folks that may be able to take that on, correct?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that how you explained it?
Yes.
Okay. They have a strong insurance company, Arthur J. Gallagher, which is kind of a strong industry-wide insurance guy. I mean, he's done more than you. I mean, he covers a lot
A lot.
of different,
Including districts.
yeah. So, they've also installed a new cybersecurity system, which is dual authentication to get into doing email even. He's gotta type in a couple of different passwords. So they have a very secure computer system. Will they keep our 3 key staff members? And the answer was yes, they'd like to put them on their payroll and go from there and see how they operate. Let's see. And also at the end, we talked
Who's
about,
the 3? I thought we had 4.
well, we would count David, yeah, so it'd be
Okay.
4, yeah. And then they are interested in buying or leasing our building and our equipment to use as a staging location for growth on the north side of Montgomery County. They also have a strong benefits program. They have a lot of training. They're very strong on training. They have good benefits. They have an IRA program. They have vacation benefits. What else?
Well, one thing that's kind of unique with us is that we have a buyback program, basically, you may call it, where for any unused sick or vacation time that's not utilized during the calendar year is paid at 100% at the beginning of the following year.
Okay. And I know you've got a strong employee connection with your folks, both personally, professionally. You have the Easter or the spring program you're gonna be doing, right? You were talking about.
We have spring picnic company events that we do. We do a lot of community events where we team build and go out in the community. We do a Christmas event, a Thanksgiving event. So we're big into team events.
How many employees do y'all have?
Right around 90 currently.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So these were the questions that we asked, and of course, there was some other back and forth that we had that I may not have documented, but I know that we spent a good time with them. So if you guys got additional questions, go for it.
The equipment that you'll stage here, I think alluding to what Dee was talking about. How much equipment, how often are they gonna be running the roads in and out, especially the heavy equipment? Or what do you foresee being stored back here?
So I see you already have a backhoe, I think, back there?
Yes.
I wouldn't expect that there would be any more. What we would just, and you know, this is just kind of thinking out loud
Sure.
and what we thought about.
We won't hold you to it, so.
But as far as bringing any additional equipment in, there wouldn't be a need to do that. We've got equipment out our way, further south yet. But as far as your equipment here, if we can work something out where we just maintain your equipment that you've got here, not that we couldn't use it somewhere else, but that it would be staged from here.
So the equipment that's here would generally be used here?
Yes. It just makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where's, is Lazy River, is that in Forest Hills?
That's the name of the subdivision.
Is that the-
Right, and then we have Lazy River down.
That's what I was wondering, where Lazy River ID is, what subdivision, or what area is that?
Yeah, that's, the name of the subdivision is.
Oh, actually is a subdivision called
Yes.
Lazy River?
Yeah,
No, there's a mud district called Forest Hills.
Oh, okay,
So sometimes we get,
okay,
but yeah, Lazy River,
okay.
yeah,
Lazy River's right down there by 1488.
yes.
Is it the one where you,
Once you go over the bridge, you go to the right.
yeah, in that
That
Forest
whole
Hills?
subdivision, no, it's Lazy River.
It's Lazy River
Okay.
Improvement District, Forest
Right.
Hills subdivision.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
And we also
Okay.
operate a mud district called Forest Hills Mud, so we get a lot of.
okay,
Yeah, we have to be sure of what we're talking about.
okay. So then I'm assuming since you have Forest Hills subdivision, you know to plan ahead for flooding and disasters and things like that, okay.
So what we typically do, and just so y'all know, we also have a couple of facility districts up on Calvary Road.
Okay,
So we go that far north. Normally what we do is our pre-planning as far as an emergency, whether it be a hurricane or what we stage our guys based on where they live. And we go as far as to make sure that in different segments or zones, if you will, where the chainsaws are located, where the guys are operators and where the construction guys are, who can call on who. So we kind of have them lumped together, if you will, so that they're closer to the areas that may need a response.
Okay, cool, okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, sure.
Okay, David, how many MUDs do you take care of here in Montgomery County?
Montgomery County is probably 4, I want to say Lazy River, Corinthian Point, Conroe Bay.
Yeah, I
That's
only
it.
found 3 on.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
This would be 4.
Oh, how many people are gonna be coming here and leaving to go out to other MUDs? Or you're planning on growing your business by using this facility as kind of close so you can get more business? I mean, I have to assume that.
Yeah, I don't want to assume that. I can tell you that our idea with, if we can work something out to utilize this area, would simply be, one, as a benefit to the customers here in the River Plantation and those in Lazy River and Corinthian
But after
Point.
hours,
No, our main facility is.
yeah, but your main facility is on the web, right?
Right,
Yeah, okay, that's good.
yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, one more if you don't mind.
Sure.
Do you have any people affiliated with your company that have also had a connection to RPMUD?
To RPMUD. One of our employees lives up here.
Right, she's the secretary treasurer of
Yes,
your
ma'am.
company.
Correct.
Right, and her husband Bob was on the board.
On this water board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a numbers person, so it all comes down to numbers for me. So I just want to get your base rate so that I know I'm not going to be able to compare apples and apples with the two, but I just want to kind of see if I can get close. So it's $1.60 per meter per account, correct? Per month, okay? Then we only have two commercial accounts? Is that what we have?
No, we've got,
3. The C-store, no, C-store isn't ours.
We got the
The
church.
well,
CIA.
you've got over 20 commercial accounts because the sprinkler systems are classified as commercial. Not
We
just
have
the
20
buildings.
commercial accounts?
Oh, yeah, you've got more than that. Sprinkler
Well, I
systems,
guess if you count that, because the CIA's got
right,
several.
yeah, exactly. It's just not a building, they're classified as commercial if they're sprinkler systems that are for a company.
Okay, well, I thought we had this discussion before, and I thought we had determined it was only 3,
I thought so.
but,
It
okay,
is.
okay, anyway. Okay, then it's $1,000 a flat rate for the lift stations, and that's all 3, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then 2,500 flat rate for the water plants, for the 3 water plants, and then 4,000 flat rate for the wastewater treatment plant,
Yes.
correct? Okay, then we start tacking on time for doing things and stuff like that, okay, okay.
So
That's,
those are gonna be like where you're seeing at C, D, and E, those are gonna be, if you go back a few pages, it will show you the basic, non-basic services and to keeping the facilities and to compliance and all the, it might be a few pages before.
Yeah, I got it
It's
right
got little
here.
bullets
Yeah.
next to it, so lots of those fees.
yeah, okay. Yeah, but anything over and above just the standard operating is,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Standard keeping it in compliance, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
and,
Richard, that's
oh, yes,
I got 2 questions I want to ask while you're talking about the cost factors. Number 1, when you're talking about insurance, what is that going to cover? Is that going to cover this building, equipment? Is it going to cover the plants? What is that insurance going to cover?
No, our insurance is
Covers
simple.
them.
It's company, yeah,
Yeah.
it's our,
Okay,
it's nothing that belongs to the district.
okay,
so that means we'll still have to maintain the overall insurance for the district.
correct.
Okay. The other question I'm thinking about is the landscaping. that means you're gonna have to contract out the landscaping, which is all the plants and the ditches.
Right,
Okay, and that's gonna be separate from the operating,
yeah,
okay?
okay. I think that was good. I've got my questions answered.
All right, Tom, any other questions?
Any questions?
Man,
You're good? Okay. Okay.
Got our questions answered, you got any?
Yeah, what do you wanna know from us?
Yeah,
I've been in the community, my cousin, they live on Longleaf, they moved because my
Okay.
cousin got a teaching position, but he's a state trooper, so I'm familiar with your community, I think it's very pretty, I like your break, and it's exciting, so it's got a good hometown feel to it, and, I'm from Montgomery County too, so.
okay, all right.
Now, you live out off of Egypt,
Pony Egypt?
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's what you
which
said?
one?
So, I'm in Westwood, behind the Kroger over there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we're a good fit for your community, because we're like a family hometown, company as well. For those that don't know, we've been, in business for 50 years, and when I joined like 13 years ago, we were probably about 30 people strong. So it's been a fun and neat, we love what we do, we love serving the public and providing the water to the community. So you won't be disappointed with all the routes. We genuinely care about what we do and have a lot of ties and enjoy serving the public.
How many total MUDs do you handle? Not just Montgomery County, but how many?
30.
30? Okay. And do you go further than Harris County? Do you go to Fort Bend County or anything? Just Harris County and Montgomery County?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Taylor, do you have any questions? Taylor's our engineer. Do you have any questions for him? No? You good? Okay.
Paul? Davis? Any questions?
Not on my end. I'm enjoying listening, and y'all are doing a very good job, in my opinion.
No, not here either. As we discussed, Kim, I think the unique part of this situation is the fact that you have an in-house operation now, and we'll be contracting out, and just understanding how that transition will work. How you expect things to work with your current employees, equipment, the building, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, we'll have a contract to draw up. It obviously won't be a standard form deal, but just making sure you really understand those aspects of this situation, because that is the kind of unique part of this deal here. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I do have a question. Is there anything, when you've done a transition like this, is there anything we haven't asked that we should have asked?
I guess if you guys if you want to look at this transition plan, we can kind of walk you through it. So if you'd like us to, and if not, if you want to, skim it and ask any questions that might jump out to you, but typically we send out, it's a little bit different situation because we're going to be working together, with the current team that you guys have at River Plantation, but we will normally send out an introduction letter, and obviously we have a generic one at the back for every letter down here. It says 1, 2, and 3. Those are referenced in the back. They're all modifiable you guys would obviously review those and approve them prior to mail outs, but we generally get a CSV file from all your addresses in the community, and we send a welcome letter letting them know kind of what's going on so people understand. And then when you guys would do because you're on RBS, when you would do your closeout is when we would send a second letter, and that's attached in the back as well, letting everybody know the next step that's happening. Third letter is when we send our first bills that are going to be, and we can put messages in the message center. They would get their first bill from WDM, and you put a letter in there explaining an update. Hopefully online payments are available at that time because they will have a new account number. And so that's part of the mail outs in the beginning. A lot of districts enjoy, or they recommend doing a door hanger. We do another door hanger in case they missed a mail out. We go tag those. There's a copy of that door hanger in your packet as well. And again, all these are modifiable For example, on our intro letters, we put 2 additional locations to serve you because they'll still be utilizing the drop box here in this office. So say somebody's out and they work in the Houston area, or even Spring area, because we have a office over there, they can drop payments, you know, wherever they please. So those are introductory door hangers. We would obviously be working with the team here, so David and Richard, as far as operations transitions, we'd like to know when the meter date, when is the current metering date here?
We shoot for the 23rd of every month.
Okay.
Oh, so I got, that blue sticky note has everything on it right there.
You want it?
So we typically go out and we'd like to see where the meters are. I mean, that's up to you, but if
Sure.
you guys would still be doing that, unless you want us to come out and look at those meter locations, we're open to that. We would like to replace, we normally just replace locks, so that's a little button, or not button, but a little bullet down here. We replace the locks on the facilities. And then just getting files, PDF files. We plan to keep all the maps, everything here. We would just like an electronic copy for our records.
Can I ask you a
Sure.
question? And so do we, in this case, would we refund deposits that we have on hand, or they would just transfer over to you?
They would have to transit, we tried to route everything back over to ADR. It will be all stored in a new database.
Okay,
So-
because I know there's people that have deposits and people like, I just went and made a big payment the other day, so I only pay once a year, and
Right.
so.
Once that closeout happens, we get all the recaps and accounting that comes over with your new account number. The only thing that will not come over are notes on the accounts, any notes that remain on the customer account.
I was just thinking if we had to send them back and ask them to send us more money back, then I can,
Yeah, it's a pushback.
yeah.
And as a reminder, the bills that they use with their system is a full-page bill that's in an envelope, that is not a postcard that's gonna get stamped and mutilated by going through the system. It's a letter, so.
And it's fully you guys, we can tailor however you like. If you have a specific logo you want on there, any conservation messages. You'll really like the enhanced
Do you
bill.
have the ability to send out bills electronically?
Oh, yes, each,
Okay.
or the e-bills, we do have that, so a lot of customers are signed up for the e-bills.
Great.
So the billing system setup is the next item, next category that you would see, and that's where once you would close out an RBS, we work with our ADR to onboard all the receivables, the files, the move outs, the index, security listing, the recaps, all of that comes over, and it's part of incorporating it into the new ADR billing software that we use. Employee training, that's where we would work with Taylor and everyone here to get accustomed to our family team at WDM. So, because there would be a learning curve for setting up new service, because it's a little bit, the way you set it up in RVS is gonna be different than ADR.
So would the
Way that you
employees
work
still
out.
be working out of here?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what,
Yeah, well, I have a question. I mean, I figure we're getting a management company, you guys know everything about MUDs. I figured you would take our people and move them to different MUDs so they can maybe learn new techniques or maybe see where a problem could be starting and head it off. But it seems to be it's gonna be the same old thing here, so I mean, how does that work?
Our goal is to make it a seamless transition. So we will have somebody here working with the staff, and they will get a lot of cross-training in what we do in ADR, the new processes, all the other MUDs that we work as well.
Okay, but they're not gonna be going to other MUDs.
They'll work here.
Yeah, so here's the thing, that it's a different dynamic as opposed to having your own staff in your own building or your own district all day long, every day. So there will be times that they will be in other areas, that learning other facilities. But it'll be on an as-need basis when they're in the district. So it won't, that's gonna be one of the changes, you know, the differences, is that they won't be here in your district all day long.
All the time.
Sorry, I was referring to office staff.
Yeah.
I think office, I think about like inside. I'm so sorry, I should have clarified.
But Sarah brings up a very important point, and that is what our objective is to arrange for the least amount of change for your community. And we feel like by maintaining your staff, that would be one positive way to make that happen. I mean, it's not like we're just gonna hire them and they go out and we wanna make sure
You know,
that.
nobody needs to be here all day. We don't have all that much stuff going on, so I mean, that's why I figured you'd kind of move them around, they learn different.
Other
I mean,
areas.
really, that's kind of the way you get educated.
Right.
And they've been doing the same things for all these years, you know, you get into a rut, so I think you need a little something there.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
So, I like the questions, so if you have any more. Agency notification is the next item, so our compliance manager typically reaches out to all the local agencies to let them know, that, you know, WDM, if we're given the opportunity, would be, working for River Plantation. And your website, you guys already have a website, so, and it's beautiful, we would just add you on our WDM site as well. And then the next one is the intro letters.
That would include Patty Potty, right?
Patty Potty, yes.
Okay.
Patty Potty's awesome. She's a hit. If you don't know who she is, you will know about Patty Potty soon, because she's no wipes in the pipes, and she looks like Lucille Ball, and she's very passionate about her work. So the letters are attached, and again, all of these are fully, you can modify them. We have on a couple letters, one I put like one of our phone numbers, if you wanted the 24, if we roll over those phone lines, we're a little unsure if we would be able to use the current phone line that you guys have that's 24/7, is that so one of the letters I have like your 936-273-4641, but that's up for however you guys want to handle that. And again, we put the final like letter when everything, we do our personnel out, we've got, you know, you can pay with check or money order at any of the following locations, so it has the 610 River Ranch, the river, and Perkindale, I'm sorry, and then Old Luetta, and then the night drop box. So all of these, we can modify, but the goal is to make it seamless and convenient for the customers.
So does your 24-hour answering service go to a person, or does it go to a actual answering service?
It goes to an actual answering service,
Okay.
and then we have an on-call team that works to take those calls.
So it's a person that's actually gonna answer the phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, one of their operators or whatever are answering service. That's what I
And if that's the phone number that you guys have for your after hours, is that a live person as well, or it's, oh, okay,
So Richard or
The phone's
David, one of
automatically
the two.
transferred to a paging service,
okay.
and then we carry the pager with us, whoever's on call.
So if it was easier, we could keep the phone number and have it rolled over to our answering
Yeah,
line.
just
as
reprogram
opposed
it to
the-
go to
right,
the other number, that's easy.
So. Do you all have any questions on any of it, or?
No, I like the mail out letter and the fact that you're communicating with the HOA and all the local agencies to let them know that's valuable. So,
Have you guys ever been fired?
Everybody's been fired.
Well,
I've never been fired.
in the 50 years.
Have you ever
of-
fired anybody? That's an even
Oh,
better.
yes, we have. But
I mean, for services, some,
we
somebody
had
comes-
one, about in the last year, I think, is, we'd operated them for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, yeah. And that particular system has a reputation, they have a reputation for short-term operators.
It was 30 years. That was the first time in 30 years.
So I think we've got a really good track record in that regard. Our objective is to work with the directors, provide good customer service, and we feel like to that end is what has created the success that we enjoy at WDM.
okay.
I'm happy.
We've got several people, I just had 2 folks, just to give you an idea of history. We talked a little bit about, we spend a lot of money on education. We feel like it's important, you know, we've got that family environment, but we feel like it's important to lift people up and help them to grow in the organization. To give you an example, our secretary treasurer started as a customer service rep. Our front office manager started as a customer service rep. Sarah started as a customer service rep. Our billing invoicing manager started as a customer service rep. My executive assistant and her 3 associates started as customer service reps. So we build that environment in our organization to lift people up and help them succeed in life. And we feel like that's one of the reasons why we have a successful long-term employment record. We just had 2 guys that retired in December. One had been with us 31 and a half years. Another one had been with us over 28 years. We've got 2 that have been with us for more than 25 years, and 2 or 3 more that are going to be hitting the 25-year mark this year. Number of even more folks that are in the 20-year range, you know, and then 15 to 20. There's a lot of folks, and so I think that in and of itself brings value to the customers that we serve.
So your folks don't leave.
Right, that's the objective. That we lift them up, we build that family environment. We do a lot of things in-house, fundraisers, from
Mardi Gras, we were just at one, the Outrun Hunger event that was out here in Conroe. I don't know if y'all knew about that from the food bank. That's one of our friends that.
They made like 35 grand or something like that.
It was a good thing.
our folks volunteer for things like the food bank. We participate in fundraisers for cancer patients. Matter of fact, one of my folks that's been with me, the president of operations, is diagnosed as having stage 4 cancer about 4 years ago, three or 4 years ago, and we facilitated fundraisers for him, and he's still hanging in there, and he still has some degree of activity. Just the concept of having a purpose, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So we feel like that's important for long term.
Great.
Okay.
Well, I think you answered all my questions.
I think we're good. Thank you guys for coming.
All right.
Yes.
Thank y'all for having us.
Okay.
Cold, rainy day. Thank you for coming out.
You're welcome. If y'all have any other questions, feel free to let us know.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll-
All right.
Did you need another copy or you
Thank
guys good?
My
If
pleasure.
you have
My
extras,
pleasure.
you can leave them, if they have some, they can take them, or get them.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
David, it's good to see you again.
David?
Thanks.
Nice to meet
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good, sir. If y'all have any questions, give us a holler, okay?
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
You didn't go to the Mardi Gras Outrun Hunger event, you should try it next time, it was fun.
I was in Lafayette playing Mardi Gras, watching parades.
Well, there you go, that was fun too.
Appreciate you
Thanks
guys
again.
coming.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Dave, if you guys want a copy of what they left a couple extra.
Call.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Okay.
So what do we do now?
If he wants to move it up, we can move it up.
So,
The next one.
Question. Having a management company, what's the benefit for us?
What's the benefit for us? Hopefully, we're gonna save some money, hopefully, a little bit, so.
So our water bill is going to be less or more?
Well, it won't be more, it shouldn't be more, let me put it that way. If we do things right, it shouldn't be more. Will it be less? Maybe, it depends on what capital projects we need that have to come up and things like that, because we're gonna have to pay back the debt on the on the bonds, and we're gonna have to do some things like that, so, I don't think it's going to be a tremendous savings, but I think it's gonna be enough to keep us in the black. So,
And are we going to get a better service with them than with them? Not what we are now?
I think we might,
we might not have to outsource as much as we do. because they've got, if you look at each one of them has plant operators, they have supervisors, they have, you know, hopefully we won't have to outsource as much, we can do a lot more in-house with them. But, you know, so,
As the time goes on.
yeah, yep, so,
Thank you.
still good?
Yeah, he just wanted to clarify something,
Oh.
it was a presentation.
Okay.
I wonder if we had a guy named Gerard.
Jeez. Do we,
How long will we wait?
well, he's not here till 1:30.
I told him we were ready for him.
Oh, okay,
He said he's gonna make his way here ASAP.
okay. And he's coming from, where's he coming from?
Old,
Not
He's
research
coming in from
forest.
1:30.
Oh, research for the Woodlands?
Yeah, no, Rayford or
Oak
something.
Ridge,
Oh,
Oak
okay,
Ridge North.
okay.
Our other guys are coming in at 1:30?
Yeah, well, he said he's gonna come now, so,
Okay.
But we're still
Yeah.
gonna have some lag time here.
yeah.
So
You on
that-
pause?
Is there any
Can't-
questions you want to ask Taylor or Paul or I? You just let us know if we can
Okay.
be of any assistance.
Okay.
I think that this is really more of an opportunity for y'all to, you know, hopefully today talk to, these are obviously the two operators who've been recommended by the committee that was
Right.
appointed. You know, we obviously talked about WDM, and the committee's thoughts on WDM last time. I think this is an effort to get, you know, kind of what are viewed as the top two candidates, as I understand it, in front of the board, so that y'all can kind of, you're obviously not gonna be in a position to approve a contract today,
Right.
right? To sign on the dotted line. But hopefully at the end of the discussion today, if this is something that you decide you want to pursue, then you can point us in the direction that you want us to go, I'll say, to start working on contracts and all that kind of stuff, if that's y'all's preference.
Okay.
I have, for the next contestant, I have a list of pricing for, a 6-month average base fees for 3 different subdivisions that they call on, so that we get an idea of what the monthly average would be for similar size, although all 3 of these are larger connections than what we have. But it gives us an idea of what they charge per month and what they cover, wastewater plants.
Did you ask him a question I asked you this morning? Or have you not, have you had a chance, or do I need to ask it today?
Ask it.
Okay.
Very similar, it's what we said last time, they're all very close.
Yeah. So,
I don't know, unless there's something missing there, number-wise or not, so. Unless there's something I didn't see on here.
Montgomery County Med one is the largest. It has 2 water plants, yet its average cost is less.
I saw that. Yeah, and it's got a larger head count than what
Is it
we've got.
newer?
That's possible, I don't know.
As I said,
I
may
didn't-
not
it
have as
doesn't have
much
that on.
repairs and things like that, and,
Do they have a wastewater plant?
yeah.
Yes,
They all 3 of them have wastewater plants.
Okay.
I was saying, it looks like, oh yeah, they do have wastewater. And one's got 2 water wells,
That's what I'm saying, you got 2,
yeah.
got twice the wells,
Wow.
wastewater, and
almost
A lot
twice
less.
the, almost twice the customers too.
Yeah.
But that may be an average where they didn't have a lot of work that needed to be
Yeah.
done. It was just basic services. And this is from municipal operations.
Okay. So I'll tell you what just because I'm gonna ask the question when they get here. WDM laid it out that they have a base rate per for the water plants, for the wastewater treatment plants, for the lift stations. And then they have their base monthly fee per connection. Well, Muni Ops, I can't find it here, just says it's $3 per connection is their base fee. There's nothing in here about a base fee for the water plants, there's nothing in here about a base fee for the lift station, unless, like I said, it's here and I'm not finding it.
Were they supposed to be here at 12 also?
No, they were supposed to be here at 1:30. This is how we did, remember, this is how we did the engineers, we interviewed them one at a time. So, which I really like, because that way they're not, you know.
I'll just remind everybody, kind of the main reason I think that we've done this process a little bit differently is because of the fact that you are not transitioning from one, third-party consultant to another, right? There's just a lot more detail here, and there's not a form proposal for taking over a district or the operations of a district like yours. So I know Tim and Tom have spent a lot of time, working with all three. If you remember, we started off with 4 candidates. We had one, essentially withdraw, and due to some new business that they recently got, and so we had 3 candidates, and I think as I understand it, committee's kind of lowered it down to 2 with 1 recommendation. But all 4 of those RFP responses obviously have been provided to the board. We included 2, the 2 for those consultants that are attending today, but we did reach out to 4 operators when we started this process. And Tim and Tom, I believe, have met with 3.
Yes. Correct, and Hayes backed out.
Yeah, and I think I got confused on that, so I thought there was 3. So Davis, you have, I'm assuming since you sent out the RFQs to them, you have customers or clients that use both of them, and both of them they're all happy with both of them?
That's right. I never, it always puts us in a little bit of a, difficult position to refer,
right.
Clients to other consultants. And so generally what I do is pick 3 that I have other clients who are happy with, that have, with operators, it's particularly important to find an operator that is focused on your area and has other business in your area. And then I will say that the other kind of distinguishing factors, or distinguishing factor amongst operators, 2 good operators may be the size of the company, right? And so there are some situations, let me get this real quick.
Okay.
I have some clients that I think really prefer and benefit from having a smaller operator, and some clients that prefer and benefit from having a larger operator, right? And so, there's just generally a little bit of a different approach, and I always tell my clients that when they're, hiring, and just like when, y'all hired Taylor, and Vogler and Spencer, is, Taylor came to the interviews, figure out who's gonna be there, who you're gonna be working with, and make sure that it's someone that you have confidence in, and that's I would say my biggest piece of advice. So
So Taylor, I do have a question for you. So I'm sitting here looking at these two proposals, and unless I'm missing something and I'm way off base here, one of the base rates is a third of what the other base rate is. Are we not getting something that we're missing here somewhere? You're on mute.
Is he hearing you?
I don't know.
Taylor?
Doesn't sound like he's,
He's got his, is that his finger up here, hold one?
oh,
Oh,
okay.
Okay, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
There we go. Sorry, my computer microphone decided not to work.
okay. That's okay.
Now I can't hear you guys.
Oh.
We're here.
Technology.
Yeah. My lord, technology at its greatest. I can't hear you on turn. I am stuck.
Okay.
You guys can't hear me, can you?
Yeah,
Yes, we can.
I can't hear you. Why can I not hear you?
because we're not talking loud enough.
How about now?
yep,
No. Well,
We're here.
interesting. Let me call on the computer as well as on my phone. We're just gonna piecemeal this together.
sort of echo.
Just
use
your computer, Taylor.
Okay, there you go, there's echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yep. Okay. No, we have no knowledge of the information regarding how they're billing their, fees.
okay.
I'll say, I think that those sample bills are helpful. The reality is going to be that, you know, your average monthly bill is gonna be, your monthly bill is gonna be, you know, the base cost and then the cost of repairs.
Yeah, but I wasn't even looking at that. I was just looking at the base rates, and one's a third of what the other one is. Unless there's something I'm missing.
That's all there's,
Could be a difference in charges too.
No, this is just number,
I
it
mean,
just,
no, in repair charges.
no, I'm not, this is before repairs. This is not
The
including
reason I'm
repairs.
saying that is the costs overall are very close. But, so there's, you're right, there's a variance here, but somehow they equal out somewhat.
But I'm just looking at base rate, because I don't wanna look at repairs, because I can't compare repairs in one subdivision
I know.
to repairs in another. That's why I'm looking at the base rate.
And the other side of that is our costs probably will be higher when we first start than it will be after we get some of our CNI done.
Yeah, but that's still not the base rate. The base rate
I
is
know
what is it
that.
gonna charge us before they even walk in and do anything?
I know what a base rate is.
Okay, so one of them is a third of what the other one is.
Okay, we understand that.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
so I'm just trying to
that
figure
the
out
total
why.
monthly, I'm saying, looks like it still comes up somehow.
But I don't think you can compare the total monthly because you don't know what repairs had to be done there and what repairs are gonna have to be done here.
That's correct.
So you can't compare monthly bills. You gotta look at the base rates, and as long as their hourly rates are the same or close.
That's the point, that, there might be a variance there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in the base rate, that doesn't take any of that into consideration.
I understand.
That's what I'm trying to get to is, what's the number we start with, and why is one a third of what the other one is?
I have no clue.
Yes, sir.
Could it be that their base rate is based on connections,
They're both based on connections.
but that one is not including the plants?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and that's why it doesn't say that, so
Exactly.
we can't compare. And
Right.
that's exactly what I asked Tim this morning, it doesn't include the lift stations, it doesn't include the water plants, and
Right.
it doesn't include the wastewater treatment plant.
Correct.
So how much is that?
That's right. Because the plants are usually not included in your count.
Yeah. So we gotta find out from Muni Ops what their base rate is for that. So I can compare apples to apples,
Then you have a total base rate.
right? Whereas all I've got right now is a base rate per connection,
Correct.
which in that case, one is double than the other. But if that includes a base rate for the water treatment plants and the,
And the wastewater plants
Then
and
it-
lift stations.
then it's a third. So it just depends on what it includes,
Right.
so.
Apples and oranges.
And I'd like to at least get crab apples out of this, something, somewhere I can get close to something, so.
I think we're wasting film.
I know, but I don't know that we can disconnect. I don't know that we can we pause the meeting, Davis, or pause the recording, or does that,
That ruined the integrity of
Does
the
that-
meeting.
Not while you're all sitting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't-
At the table
yeah.
discussing district business.
Yeah.
You can adjourn, but you can't, you can't, and reconvene, but you can't,
okay,
continue to discuss the proposals, et cetera, and not,
right.
I was gonna tell the guy 1 o'clock, but I just didn't know how long we would run with
Yeah,
the first one. So,
it's always hard to know.
Yes,
Yeah, so.
yeah, it's not something to feel bad about, but y'all certainly want to stand up, walk around, do whatever you need to do. And I may have to drop off just a little early if it runs long, because I do have a conflict with a call coming up here in a little bit. I apologize for that.
anybody juggle? Sunny days?
no juggles or anything like that.
Thought maybe that, we were lucky. Okay, can you send the card, Kim?
Do y'all want to ask Tim or Tom any other questions about WDM? Obviously, since they were the candidate that was recommended last meeting, is there any other discussion that should be had just while we have time?
So what was the overriding factor that made you recommend them?
Go ahead.
I told you to do this today.
You did what?
You got on the spot.
They're a very strong, family-oriented company. You know, they take care of their employees. They just come across as being very steady in the way they do their work. They're not as big as some of the other companies. They don't have the area that some other companies have. They're strictly Harris and Montgomery County. And like I said, they only have a limited number of MUDs that they handled, whereas municipal operations has a whole lot more MUDs that they handle. They have a lot more geography.
They're
They're-
San Antonio, aren't
Go to San Antonio?
I don't know, I don't remember about that. Did he say that?
they? I think they do, I'm not sure.
Okay. So,
I think I would rather someone that didn't have as many, as opposed to one guy having to worry about, I'm sure he's got a company hierarchy or whatever,
oh yeah,
but it's
it's,
some guys that's basically in this area, I mean, from Louetta up to here.
I thought it said they have 13 clients in a 10-mile radius of here. And
Who's that, WD?
Muni ops, yeah. I think they, WDM said they.
Here's a
had
map
3.
of muni ops and their local, their 10-mile radius of ops that they have, that they take care of.
I don't think I read where it said how many employees they had.
Well, based on the size of the building and what have you, they're gonna have a lot more employees.
Well, I was gonna say, the Woodlands office has, just the Woodlands office has 53 MUDs, they do.
Right, so the other 30 are run out of Katy.
Yeah. So they have 83 MUDs in
I think they said they had
Harrison,
80.
Montgomery?
Yeah.
How many did you say they had in Montgomery County?
They have 53 out of the
53.
Woodlands office. That's, they're not all in Montgomery
That's not
County.
necessarily
Some
what
are
I'm
in
getting, but they
Harris.
have, here's a map.
17 in Montgomery County, I think I read.
This is circle,
Right.
is 10-mile radius around us,
Oh, and there's
and
13.
that's all the MUDs
in
that
10
they
miles.
handle around
Do
us.
you ever have a problem with somebody's hand?
Well, that's one of the advantages that they had, was that they're driving by us every day to handle other MUDs that are in the area.
Exactly.
So they're already
Two
close
trucks.
by.
Oh.
You know, it was not an easy decision to recommend one over the other,
I don't
but
think so.
that was
They're both
what
good.
we came up with at that point.
Centralized.
So we'll see what Keith has to say and how he comes across to the board and what the board thinks.
Yeah, we just, in my mind, we have a wide range in that base rate, and something's not right somewhere.
Yeah, and that's also something else, is the cost to operate. If they're substantially cheaper for apples to apples, or as close as we can define apples to apples, then we need to look at that.
Yeah, because their labor rates, their equipment rates are all within $5.
Yeah. The shut-off rates and things like that are all pretty much the same.
Okay, you're gonna set up the TV so it's facing the camera?
We're gonna set up, do what?
Well, I mean, you're gonna put the TV up there,
Right,
have the attorneys and the engineers.
so that they face out to
Okay.
us and the audience.
Okay, so the camera's not gonna come up.
Oh, well, never thought about that, but
I
it
wanna put
could.
it over there on that wall.
Yeah.
On that wall. That way that's not blocking the camera.
Yeah,
Because if you put it here and spin it out, it's gonna be blocking part of the camera.
yeah.
It's the blocking part of you guys.
Hey,
Very good.
Hi,
Hey, Keith,
hi,
see you.
Gilmer, Municipal Operations.
hi, Julie
Oh, this
Gilmer.
guy.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. How you doing,
Hi.
sir?
Tim Goodman.
Yeah, John.
Hi, Julie
How you
Gilmer.
doing? Tom Vandever.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Tom Vandever.
How y'all
Tim
doing?
Goodman.
Hi, Julie
Hi.
Gilmer.
On your right.
No problem.
John.
Appreciate you guys speeding it up a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, since we're early, that means we got 30 more minutes to talk,
That's
right?
right.
That's it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay. So do you want to start with what, did you
I'll
ask them the same
I'll
question?
start it.
Okay.
I'll start it off that way. Keith's got something he's handing out.
Okay.
Keith, you get skinnier every time I see you.
Man, I like you.
I did.
Not too many people tell me this.
He was talking
All right.
about the proposal.
Well, we met with Keith on the 16th of February. I had previously met with Keith last year when we first started talking about management companies. And this time, Tom and I met with him, and we had some questions that he answered for us. And I want to let the board know the questions that were asked and how they answered. And then you'll have an opportunity, obviously, to ask questions, and they can ask us questions. So, the basic rates that you offer to us, what's included in the basic rate? Because I know, Julie, you got some notes there about what's included.
Yeah, in that $3 base monthly fee, $3 per connection, is that the operation of the lift station, the water treatment plant, and the water wells, or is those are separate fees?
Those are separate, so
Okay,
if you,
so I couldn't find those.
so if you look, I'd sent Davis an updated rate schedule, so if you look
Okay.
in here, so this is the same
That's
$3,
what I was
and
looking
this
for.
is the base fee,
Okay,
as far as
Okay,
facilities.
you have
Okay.
4 or 5.
5. Okay. Thank you, now I can compare apples to apples.
Sure.
Okay.
If you don't think it's enough, we can charge more.
Okay,
You do that for us?
just for us, right?
So it's either the base fee, we got water plant operations rates and sewer plant operations rates and lift stations too.
Okay. So that was, how we started the conversation. You still want to do your figuring before
No,
I
go
move on
ahead,
or move
keep
on?
going, I can
All right.
multitask.
I asked if they're compatible with our RVS software, and Keith said that he would convert to the AVR software, which, again, seems to be an industry standard to go to AVR.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that, and I think I mentioned it when we met last, is that, we've done a handful of conversions from RPS, so this isn't our first rodeo in that regard. We're familiar with that process, and obviously that's a linchpin to this whole deal, is making sure that we capture all your data and that we get it accurately and rightly inputted into our system. So that's something that we have done before.
Okay, good. Can you work with our manual meters? And he said yes. Do you have a customer service center for billing issues, complaints, and payments? And yes, we saw their billing center, which is very nice. As soon as you walk in their building, they have the payment windows and staff to handle it. Will you handle our current drop box? Yes, he said they would do that. There's no separate charge for that. Is there a charge for processing and mailing of our monthly bills? And he said that's covered under the postage and stationery part of the bill. Is that correct? Okay. What's your cost to disconnect? It's $30, and they also believe in the same thing that we have, is that they don't disconnect on Fridays or holidays. They start with a door tag prior to shut off, right?
Correct, yeah, generally speaking, your rate order is gonna outline some certain steps that we've gotta take in regards to notification, but certainly, we certainly wanna make sure that the customer's aware, so that's generally done via door tag. We also can send out, letters as well.
Okay.
So, can I ask a
Yeah.
question? What's your you do a door tag 2 days before, 3 days before, a week before? How long before disconnect?
Honestly, that's.
That's whatever our policy is.
Sure, yeah, if you tell us, give them 5 days notice, we'll give them we're gonna work within y'all's marching orders. If you
Got
say,
it.
hey, we wanna make sure they know this many days in advance, then we'll
Okay.
make that happen, that's not a problem at all.
'Cause I'm gonna, correct me if I'm wrong, Richard. Right now, we do it, payment is due on the 15th. They get a notice on their door 15 days after the 15th?
We mail out the red cards on the 16th,
Okay,
and the red cards state that it's due by the first of the month.
So you collect current, like you can
Correct.
get turned off if you don't pay your
Right.
current bill.
correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have clients that do that.
Yeah,
We are a policy, whatever your rate order says, your rate order bill will do.
okay.
They have no reconnect fee. We do, but they won't.
Okay.
And as far as paying the bill, Keith, you correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff as I'm going along, so. The bill could be paid at HEB and Kroger,
Yeah, I mean, so we've tried to offer several different payment options. You know, they can obviously pay, you know, like we've got a window at our office. You can make, you know, payments via cash, check. You can do online, you know, recurring payments. Some of our districts have elected to enroll, and I think it's called a check-free pay type system. So you can go to various folks that are part of that service. And again, we've tried to expand all options to hopefully allow customers every opportunity to go out.
So you can do the ACH where automatic, where you never have to think about it again. You just put a credit card on file and automatically it comes out. The cheapest way, I mean, I think the stamp is 58 cents now, but you can do an e-check. I think that's $1. So that's the second cheapest thing to do is besides putting the stamp on it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to reiterate and just make sure, you know, full disclosure, any of these processing fees, anything else, that's incurred by us, by the processor in order to provide this platform. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Keith is our key contact. The location of the nearest office is in Oak Ridge. Their hours of operation are 8 to 5, so they've got a little more expanded time than we currently have. I didn't get I guess I didn't ask this question. What's your after hours or emergency call out rate for work to be done? Is it time and a half, double time,
Yes,
single
sir.
time, or what?
Yes, sir. Generally, anything done after hours is time and a half.
Okay.
Overtime, that would be time and a half.
All right.
That's from the time they leave there.
It's to but not from. To but not from.
Okay.
So, that's correct. You
Okay.
pay one-way charge.
Would you be able to maintain our park and green space? And yes, they do have the capability of doing that. They have a large insurance company, Arthur J. Gallagher, which seems to be an industry standard to use them. Would you be willing to keep our key staff members? And Keith said yes, they would. And they would be on the municipal ops payroll, but how would that work as far as them being on your payroll and staying with us?
So
How-
I think, you know, we always want to find good people, and they would be on our payroll, but they may not be just right here in this area. You know, we have many clients in this area, so they would be, you know, in our system, and we
Sure.
can use them as, obviously, we want their expertise for here, because they have years of knowledge that is gonna be very valuable,
But they would also be circulated around other MUDs that need
Could be.
some help.
Absolutely, I don't wanna portray if they come to work for us, they're just gonna be right here, because that may not be the best fit, but
Right.
we sure.
Because at
wanna-
that point, they're gonna be their employees, not ours, and they can
Right.
tell them what to do.
Absolutely.
And so it doesn't change anything on the fees, it's an hourly rate, but if they're used in a capacity that we can charge for, if it's part of just plant checks or whatever, if that's a built-in monthly rate, so.
Okay. All right. Can you provide a sample list of your maintenance equipment, and you have in this presentation that you had given us? You've got quite a bit of equipment. And as far as, are you interested in our equipment to be used by your people? I think you said probably not because of liability and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we would just have to sort through, you know, how that would potentially look. You know, obviously y'all got equipment here and there's no reason for it to sit and collect dust, and we understand that, but at the same time, you know, we wanna make sure that, you know, one, we've got some kind of predefined systems, right? And so, you know, if we've got a crew coming out to do a leak, you know, we've got some things already in place, and so honestly, at least what I've seen is that when you begin to break out of these kind of known systems that they're tried and true, they work, we do them all over the place, you know, there's the opportunity for things to potentially fall through the cracks. You know, would we be open to the conversation? I think certainly potentially, but.
Yeah, if you have a jet machine here, and there's a sewer backup, we're remiss not to use it. I mean, that's, so I think we just gotta apply some good judgment. And,
Sure.
and, you know, use the equipment that is here and beneficial to.
Okay. All right. And then Keith also said that they work with GM Services twice a year to inspect the wells for metals and things. What is that all about?
Yeah, and I actually brought, just because I remember we had talked about it, I brought just some examples of what those reports look like. So GM Services is just it's a vendor that we utilize, and y'all may already be doing something like this within your system, but generally what we'll do is, and John and Lonnie can probably speak to this intimately better than I, but on a biannual basis, what we like to do is to have GM Services go out, and this is just an example of a report from the system down the road, but we like to have them go out, and we like to have them evaluate the wells. There's lots of data here. If you look on the back, the last page, there's a graph and a table that shows essentially your static water level, your pumping water level, and then capacity in gallons per minute. And they would do this for each individual well within the system. And so you can see here, over the last several years as we've performed these tests, you can see that capacity in gallons per minute. And more or less, if we begin to see a change in that capacity that doesn't correspond to a change in that static water level, then that could potentially be an indication of a potential issue downhole. Hopefully, we would know about it prior to an all-out failure. And then in addition to that, and John, like I said, he can speak to this better than I, but we're looking at sand. Is it producing brass? Really, any indicator of a potential problem before it fails.
If they see excessive vibration in a very upper bearing load, do a vibration report too, to monitor that. If we see a vibration happen, they'll pick up. That's our annual test to try and determine if it's a vibration downhole on the line shaft turbine or what that situation is, or a submersible point. They look at that and do that. But we look at that data closely. It's required by the TCQ to be annually done. We found that for 6 months it's better performance on the well to look at that.
So TCEQ says you gotta do it once a year, and you're doing it twice a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
that data is good to have.
Okay, Richard?
We already use them, we already get that report.
Oh, from
Okay.
GM Services?
All right,
Okay.
great. Okay.
They're a good company.
Do we do it annually?
We do it annually, yes.
Okay. That was all the questions and stuff we put Keith through the ringer on when we met with him earlier. So feel free to ask anything, and you gentlemen, if you've got questions for us, or the audience, if you've got questions.
You guys had questions about the, switching over, getting the data over. So, that's something that we bear the burden of. We feel like that's a cost of doing business, so to speak. So it costs money to go from RVS to ADR. So we bear that, and then we also pass out a door tag to your customers at our cost that tells them, hey, there's a new operations company, here's our information, give them a magnet, put on the fridge, so they call us anytime they want. And, we wanted to set up the automated payments on their account, so they get a letter to that effect. But again, we bear the cost of that, because we feel like it's just something that we need to take care of, it's the cost of doing business, so.
Okay. Yeah? All the question answered. Mark?
No, I think I'm good. The stuff about the equipment, you kind of mentioned the jet or something. Would you buy that from us or lease it from us, or if you guys took over, what should we do with our equipment? Just
I think we evaluate that equipment, determine what its condition looks like. Evaluation of the equipment is necessary, but I think if we're open to anything right now, we just got to determine what that is for sure.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
I'll just say, whoever we were to work with on the equipment, or however y'all want to dispose of it, right? Selling it to an operator, selling it in an auction, there are some limitations on how we can dispose of it, and we just need to make sure we get fair market value for it. So, but that's entirely up to the discretion of the board. And if you don't have in-house operations, I would expect that you would want to, there probably wouldn't be a reason to hold on to that equipment, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna ask you the same questions I asked the other people.
Sure.
Now, I saw though from your list, you've got 17 buds in the county, and 13 are in a 10-mile radius? Okay, so you're close. Do you have any people that work in your company that are affiliated with our MUD or have been?
Well, back in the '70s, when I was about 8 years old, my dad worked for Hayes Utility, and every Saturday I rode with him, and we came to River Plantation. One.
I don't think that counts.
I don't think it does either.
But no, man, that's
Okay, appreciate that, thank you.
But I think the fact that we have so many clients nearby, you're getting we're not having to send a truck an hour away
Right.
to get to you. You're gonna benefit from, just economies of scale, but being close by, so.
And I think one thing we hadn't talked about too, the three of us sitting here, so it keeps your board rep, I'm involved in it, we're gonna call you back. If you have an issue, we're gonna call you back quickly and tell you we're gonna address that issue.
He does.
You
He's
know,
great.
I think you're gonna see it from all three of us. If you have a compliance issue from over, I'm gonna call you back. If you get a notice about something, I'm gonna address that, so. And what's important to you as a district is that we stay in compliance from the water system and the sewer system for both. There's some stuff out here, I looked at the notes and stuff, there's a little bit of stuff going on. There's an administrative order against you right now, see, I guess, correct?
I thought it had been taken care of. Has that not been taken care of?
Online, it still shows open, but I just looked
Yeah,
online.
it's still open.
Yeah.
It's still open?
They never have closed it yet.
That's still open, but I pride myself, we pride ourselves in getting involved in things and trying to correct those things. We do a great job at that. We close several of those out, so we'll get involved now from day one and try and close that out. And they're not that hard to close, but you have to follow up the state. But it's still open as of right now online.
Okay.
That's one thing that I will be involved in from day one and try and get closer to. Similar concern with the water system, I mean, it's not a big deal, but I'll look into, right now you had chloroform violations for raw samplings. You do raw sampling of wells, you have that 8 months in a row, and that's just an indicator of organism, something's not right. But I'm gonna get involved in that from day one and try and figure what that is. Whether it's superchlorinated in the well, iron bacteria, what it is, but we've gotta correct that, because that's just something gonna happen when the tick coming up quickly. You know, if you have E. coli, that's a big deal. Right now, it's just it's just a coliform issue, so you keep running it, but it's been going for like 8 months right now, so.
Okay.
It's still recently 8 months?
The last, I'll look and see, look at here, the last.
Because this may be something, is this something different than
I
what we
only got-
talked about before?
Yeah, it's a different, it's because of the new well. We've already had the well sanitized and everything, and it still keeps coming back that way.
Well, a lot of times on those, what we do is we have issues with them. The iron bacteria in this area is pretty bad, so we'll superchlorinate those and shock them, service them, but we brought them back around. Yes, ma'am, as of February 14th, that's the last we had positive for chloroform. It goes back to August, but I mean, that's just something that I'm gonna be cognizant of and take care of and help you with it if we get the district. So I'll do all your CCRs, all that stuff will come through me. Everything you've got. We're gonna manage your sludge program. We take pride in managing that. So when I say about sludge program, I can't remember the liquid here, Keith, with all liquid or with it. Well pressed. So we're gonna make sure that those materials are pressed in the right fashion. We use polymer to be the best, most effective we can to keep your cost down right there. Because the more that press runs, the more it costs you. You know, more water comes out, the more cake we haul out. The drier cake, it's savings for you as well.
Right.
All right, well, that brings me to my next question then. I'm guessing you don't have any problems reporting violations and repairs and damages to the board?
No, ma'am. You'll be the first to know. If I have an issue with E. coli like this, I'm gonna call the head guy, who our contact, who that's gonna be. Me and Keith will call you direct and say, we have E. coli, coliform, whatever it is issue. Or if there's issue at the plant going on, you'll be the first to know. So if I've got sludge rising clarifier because somebody dumped them here, something happened, you're the first one to loop on it. I guarantee you. You'll be aware of it every month.
So don't be surprised if you have an issue and one of us pulls up to your house and says, hey, there's something we need to show you. Go get in the truck. We want you to know,
I think we're all open to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's key. Communication is key in this
Yep.
event here. We gotta communicate with each other to be successful. Both
Yeah.
sides, you know.
Yeah,
If you're ready.
okay. How are you at, you have like a skid steer on site that we can use for cleaning out ditches and things like that?
Yeah.
You have one of those?
skid steer, we have
Awesome.
running
Mini
loaders.
excavators. We got all that. We got
Okay.
310 large machines, we got the mid-sized machines, we got boring rigs. We use a mold to bore with, or dry boring, either one, so we do all that. You know.
Okay.
So, making bigger bores, 10 inch and stuff like that, 12 inch, we're gonna get a subcontractor bigger one, but we can go up to 8 inch.
Okay. Great.
Okay, I'm gonna ask another question,
Nope.
just out of, so
You
we
got
don't
the
have
floor.
problem. We have a lot of customers that have deposits, or some of us go out there and pay once a year and just let our bills whittle down. Will those credit balances transfer over to your system, or do we have to refund it and then
Absolutely.
try to chase them down to get it
Everything
again?
transfers over. We'll-
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Everything we have will mirror once we get it, because we'll make sure it does. So what we do is we take your last billing and we mirror it.
Okay.
And we transfer the data and then do a mirror bill, and every one of them better match exactly,
Okay.
or else.
So it's as seamless as possible for the customer.
Seamless, I mean, there's always gonna be a hiccup, I mean, but you're gonna get the benefit that we've done this a whole bunch of times, and we know what to look for, and we know what to do when we see the hiccups. So, to say seamless, no, but we know how to handle it. when
Okay.
it's not
Becomes
seamless.
All right, so you've got, like you say, it may not be 100% seamless, but you've got solutions to make it painless.
Right, and,
Okay.
yeah, and we'll, you know, every client we've gotten since we've been in business for 20 years, we had to go get. We didn't
Right.
buy business or anything like that, so we've had to go do this every time, unless it was a startup district, so.
Yeah, and
Very
I
good.
would just, and, you know, certainly y'all feel free to keep hurling questions our way. I just, you know, kind of to dovetail off of, you know, what Lonnie mentioned, you know, it really, you know, there's lots of reasons why this type of conversation can be had. It can be a new creation, like you mentioned. It can be an existing MUD that has a current operator that they're dissatisfied with. It can be an existing MUD that has a current solution that works, you know, and so you know, from what I've gathered and all the homework that I've attempted to do, I understand that this is a unique deal. And we're not here to convince you that your current solution is no good. I know that he is, and I know that he's been here for a long time. And so we want to make sure that y'all know that, you know, we're merely here to hopefully provide you guys with all the information that you need to maybe make the next step of what's in the best interest of you guys, your taxpayers, residents, and also know that it's not lost on us that these types of conversations and decisions, they touch a lot of folks. The services that you guys provide affects a lot of people. We have the ability, if hired as your operator, to have a negative impact or a positive impact, and so, but that's not lost on us. It's something that we take very, very serious, and we certainly appreciate just you guys even allowing us the chance to come and visit with you.
Yeah, no, we're not trying to get rid of our employees. Richard's plan is to retire, so,
Yes,
and I know from other clients that I have that have businesses like yours,
Sure.
how hard it is to find people that are experienced in this area.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Richards walking
Yeah.
up and down the
No,
street.
there's not.
No doubt about that.
There's
Yeah.
not at all. And I would also just add that, I mean, if there's any operator that sits here and looks you in the face and tells you that from day one that we can replace all the years of experience that he has in the system,
Right.
they're lying to you. What I can tell you is that there's no two systems that are the same, right? Every
Right.
MUD's got its own unique directors, its own unique system, its own unique consultants. And so at the end of the day, our approach is to get involved in the nitty-gritty, you know, all the details, hopefully hop in the boat with you guys and all start going in the same direction. We just merely want to be a member of the team, right?
Oh, speaking of hopping in the boat,
Yeah.
you know where we sit. How do you have other areas? That's right. Do you have other areas that have
Oh, yes.
Flood
disaster problems?
Flood problem.
Yeah, flood
We
problem.
have one that we
And-
go in with a military truck that sits 48 inches off the ground, we just drive into.
Okay.
Ponderosa wastewater plant.
Oh.
So the only
Okay.
boats
Okay.
driving there,
Pond Road.
we stayed personnel in the high points, but we took water in Ike and Harvey there several feet, so.
Yeah.
And while you're on that subject right there, we're very detailed also about FEMA claims. We are very good at it. So we filed hundreds over the years, the Ikes, the Harveys, we process all that through. I do that in my department, so
Okay.
this area probably would be filing a claim for sure, but we're very, very good at that.
Okay.
So.
And you're open to attending our meetings and being the intelligentsia of of helping us as we have our board meetings every month?
I would
Even if
be-
they're in the evening?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it, with the evening meetings. I would be more than glad to join. I would be honored. I'll tell you, you clearly don't know me that well. If you did, you'd say, we want one of these guys, but I would gladly attend and, you know, again, this isn't a one-man show, and that's, you know, I know Tim and I have had, you know, some conversations, but, you know, I've been here for a little over 10 years, and I stand on the shoulders of these guys and a whole long list of other folks that ultimately make this wheel turn. It's not me, so, you know.
I'll tell you, the first year I commit to being in as many board meetings, because I wanna get my hands around, you know, maybe not the nuts and bolts, but the, you know, just the general things that I need to be aware of.
Sure.
And I wanna get to know you guys, and, so I do try to do that the first year as well.
Okay.
So what are we not asking that we should ask?
Well, if I was you, I would say, what happened last February 14th at your office, you know? And, you know, we had a disaster plan in place, we still have it in place. That Sunday, y'all may remember, I mean, every one of our staff was at their facilities on post. We didn't wait for the freeze, we were on site, because we didn't know if we could get on site afterwards. And we lost power at most of our facilities that evening. And our guys stayed on the job till Thursday night. Our office was open 24/7 for 1 week. If your customer called, they didn't answer, they didn't have an answering service, someone answered the phone and dispatched immediately to your house if you had a broken pipe and you need it turned off. We had numerous letters from customers saying it was 2 a.m. Called your office and the guy was there. Because we don't wait until the storm's over to get to your area, because you can't get there. So we're there before the storm happens. And I'm very, very proud of our performance during that. Yeah, was it difficult? Absolutely.
We stayed the same way in Harvey and I too. We stayed the same way.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, and I will tell you, Richard and his guys did a great job. I mean, they were out, and members in the neighborhood, when they had to go home because the roads were getting too bad, members in the neighborhood stepped up and started doing it.
I would hope you select your operator to you. That's a key question you ask him, because he should have stayed. In Harvey, Ike, and this one, we didn't lose the water pressure. We held up the whole way, so we pride ourselves, man. We took trucks in, you guys out, took food to them, so that's key in Houston.
Yeah.
And the hurricanes, now we know the freezes are coming, and all those things are building because the Mother Nature changes, but that's, here you select has got to be on board with that 100%.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
What else? Keith, you gotta be asking us something.
What do you want to ask us?
You know, really, you know, I, like I said, I understand that this is a unique situation. You've got lots of folks here that have served y'all well. You know, ultimately, I mean, what's your expectation of your next operator?
Have things run smoothly and not have,
Seamless.
not have any complaints, not have anybody, not have water, not have any busted water mains that aren't controlled, and, you know, not find out months later that we have a problem, and,
Well, I think you'll find from our staff, our office staff is impeccable, and they're gonna respond to that, our field guys will too, and you'll be the first to know, I promise you. You won't find out months later if something's going on. If I've got a lead and copper issue or whatever, as soon as I find out that, you're right on track with that, so.
And, you know, it kind of, in that same vein, you know, we understand that there's, when you've got other proposals before you, we're not fooled into thinking we're the only show in town. I mean, there's lots of folks in the greater Houston area that can operate plants, that can turn valves, and I'm not trying to make light of that task, but I also want, I mean, we're aware of the fact that there's others out there. And so, you know, our response to try to separate us from another is communication, customer service. I mean, I can't tell you how many directors, you know, call me 9 o'clock at night, you know, hey, you know, what's going on at the plant? You know, there's constant communication, there's, you know, and so, I mean, that's kind of how we've tried, along with other ways, to try to kind of elevate ourselves over and above the rest.
So we've been, it's our 20th year in April, our 20th year in business, and, something that I'm, I don't say this boastfully, but, my chest pooched out, but we've never been relieved of a contract. And that is a mantra that nobody in our office wants to wear. Trust me.
Right.
But there's a reason that it's because we're concerned about it to the level that we're just gonna take care of it. The things that gotta be taken care of. And between us, we know what that is. This is all John and I know how to do. Keith's the only one here that knows how to play golf.
No idea when she ends up as love.
But the compliance, John is so respected in the compliance industry at the TCEQ level. And we've had so many situations come up where, John's talking to them and they won't even send an inspector out. Just tell us what you see, John. And so they trust him because he's gonna be honest with them. And he's gonna be honest with you. And, we're gonna try to work through anything that might come up. Like Keith said, it shouldn't be us three, it should be 50 other people standing here in front of you. Because that's what we're really bringing to you, is
Oh, yeah, how many employees do you have?
about 200.
Most of them in the Harris, Montgomery, Fort Bend County area?
Right.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you.
Tom?
Okay.
I'm good.
Richard?
I'm good, I'm good.
You're good?
The only question I got is the same one I had for the last
Yep.
group, and that is, you're obviously gonna have to contract out the landscaping, because your company does not do the landscaping.
Actually, I thought he said they did, didn't he?
They have
You're gonna
They had
handle,
somebody-
you're gonna
Well,
handle
you can
cuts and
handle-
grass?
Work with.
Like the water plants,
And
the
then like the
sewer
ditches.
plant, the ditches, things like that.
Yeah, so as far as site maintenance is at facilities, that's certainly something that, we have the equipment and the ability,
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's a matter of what's cost effective for you guys. We're happy to do it. As far as the ditches, and I think we also talked about, maintaining what was the golf course. So this large scale stuff.
That we already have somebody for the golf course.
Okay,
Else we
yeah.
can say.
That may have been.
What I would tell y'all is, we also have to be careful not to stretch,
Sure.
we're not landscape guys, we're operators, right? And so when we
Right.
start trying to be landscapers, we lose focus on how we make our
Sure.
living.
Right.
But what I would tell you is that, do we have the equipment and to do, site maintenance? Yes. Are we willing to have the conversation and figure out what's the most advantageous to the district? Absolutely. And if that's not us, and we're perfectly content with that.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay.
I'm out of questions.
Anything?
Guys, got anything else we need to know?
Not necessarily, there's, I think the same information that you guys have seen, maybe previously from us. But, certainly, what I would task you guys with, we've got references here. We put them there because we want you to call them. We're confident, as to what you're gonna hear. And if you hear anything different than what we're telling you, then
Let us know.
let us know first, but then don't hire us. I would encourage you to utilize that.
You're gonna get your best information from consultants, whether it's at the attorney, bookkeeper, whatever level, because, we all see each other without our makeup on, and we know how we respond to emails and requests and in meetings, and that's why we're the size we are. Because those are the folks that have said, hey,
He's got a good job.
these guys will make your job easier. So, I know, talking to him. I hope
Know him real well.
and I hope he's talking to you.
Hopefully he's nodding his head yes. I can't see it, David.
And
We're trying to get that rectified.
No, these guys do a great job. Know all three of them real well and have for a long time, so.
And if he wants to recommend the second best operator in town, that's his.
Well, all right, well, we certainly
Well,
appreciate you coming
Appreciate
out.
you guys coming out.
Thank y'all for having us.
Okay, no problem, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Be careful going back. I know it's not far, but
Thank you.
Have a good day, man.
you too.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you guys getting that out on the road together.
See you later.
See you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank y'all.
All right, well, we don't have on here, on the agenda to vote, so I guess we're gonna toss this around, mull it around and vote next, at the next regular meeting?
You're not formally, hiring an operator until you approve a contract.
Right.
Right, so the reason I have considered proposals on here is because I think you have to decide if you're ready to proceed, and if so, who you want us to proceed with, right? And so, if you, if you tell me to go ahead, you want a, contract with, municipal ops or water district management, on the next agenda, and to start to work up a document, then I think that's the direction that we need for you to formally, consider it. I hate to, just because again, it is a unique deal, you have the equipment, you have the building, and, in addition to the regular operations. So I think we have to think about, who we want to hire and how we want to handle, those issues. You also, have your employees, right? And we have to think about, timing and the transition and everything there. And I think Richard, will probably, be, an essential part of that, conversation as well. So I don't think it's going to happen, overnight. I think you have pricing, right? And an understanding of their businesses, and I think we have to kind of work through, coming up with a transition arrangement that works for everyone. And so my thought is, if y'all want to proceed with one or the other, that you direct the committee, and I to work towards that end.
So is it out of, can we all kind of voice our opinions and kick around the way we feel and why we feel that way in an open session? And just get feedback?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
You have pricing. I will tell you, as far as the, I think that let me say that we can't go into executive session to address, the building or pricing or anything like that.
Yeah.
How that might be handled. We can also, address, the sale of the equipment, and everything there. I'll just touch briefly on both of those. One, your equipment, I think we can certainly find someone who can help us put a number, on the equipment, do an inventory and evaluation of the equipment. That may take some time, but I think we need to figure out what the value of that is, before we start,
But do we even want to look at that? I mean, my opinion is, do we even want to look at that? Because what if we decide 60 days down the road, we made a horrible mistake? And we need to come back to what we were.
And you get new equipment.
Let me say this, there is absolutely no, if you decide that you want to wait 60 days or 90 days or 6 months or a year before addressing that, equipment, that's perfectly fine. That doesn't need to be, addressed with, either of the operators now. I think you do need to decide. Let me say this. I think it's first things first. You should decide: do you like either one of the operators that you saw today? Is this something you want to pursue? Where do you want to go from here? And then we can talk about the details of that.
Yeah, that's, And what I would kinda like to do, if we can, is each of us say which one we're leaning towards and why, so that we can kinda hash it out or discuss it or whatever. Can we do that, or is that like a vote? Cause I don't wanna go that route.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should hash it out, and then we can have a vote if that's necessary. I guess I'll say, that, I mean, the hard part is, I think you have two qualified operators in front of you. And, it's a matter of who you feel most comfortable with. So.
How does base rates work out there? If you get-
It came out it's about $1,500 difference a month on the base rate.
Not a big difference.
No,
What I thought.
yeah. Well, once they gave me the new pricing, yes, the new rate schedule, because it did come out horribly the opposite way
Yeah.
at first, so.
So if we were to discuss our personal opinions at this point, would that be considered a vote?
I mean, let me say this, I think it would be helpful to have a conversation amongst the board members and then collectively make a decision.
Right.
And you can do that as a vote, or not, but remember that we don't have a contract for approval, right? So, you're obviously not gonna be in some sort of binding contractual relationship with one of these operators immediately, because we do need to figure out the transition process, right? We wanna make sure that, we're clear on, the logistics of, their offers to employees, how the timing of any employees who may not be included in this process and their employment works, the timing of the transition, work through all of those kind of details and logistics, if that makes sense.
Okay,
Well, can we have a discussion on which way everybody's leaning, and why?
I think about what I would like to see, and it would be very rough, and it might be limes to lemons as opposed to whatever, but, a 10-year breakdown from this point for 10 years, basically what each of them will cost. And that would include whether we sell the building or lease it to WDM and our equipment and stuff like that. Next to what a 10-year projection would be if we didn't get either one and discontinue the way we're going now.
Okay, so.
I mean, that would be, like I said, you're never gonna get a perfect comparison.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not clear on municipal office.
That's about what our
building is.
payroll is a year, and benefits.
nothing.
They're not gonna do anything, so we,
It's about that
our
amount.
insurance, everything
Okay.
stays the
Okay.
same.
We'd still own it.
That's their base rate. Now, that's not including repairs and work and things like that,
Pay them to do
and
it.
that's their base rate a month.
I guess we would. Yeah.
Now, this includes the
Should've
repairs
asked
and
them.
everything else.
I know.
Yeah,
That
like I said,
this doesn't, but,
Yeah. You'd have to break down what
correct,
this base rate is, not what
the all-in
historic,
is,
yeah.
yeah. And I don't know how you would do
We
that.
can send them an email and find out.
That's,
Have to be,
that's
By
gonna
the hour.
be, that's gonna be hard to do, because our salary ranges are a combination of things.
Right.
Administration, operation, landscaping, and service work.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be hard to break out, I gotta admit that. And that's why it looks like we're hired, but you also have to consider the fact we're doing a multiple of things where they're focused on one item in operations. So,
Yeah.
that, and I'd love to keep the building.
Yeah, I don't think we're in the real estate business.
Yeah, and I don't think, where are we gonna have our meetings, first of all?
yeah,
We'd still have them here.
you'll need the.
Well, not if we don't own it. They don't
Well,
have
yeah,
to let
that would be
us.
part of the agreement, that we would still have use of the facility.
Well, the second unit didn't say anything about the building.
Yeah,
I know.
And they were
Yeah.
kinda like, look at your equipment and see.
right.
where WDM said, we'll lease your building
You said
and
you
you're,
do whatever you want.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I don't wanna get in, let's leave that outside of the,
Well, but in 2 years, we find out that in actuality, their cost is,
More
instead
than
of
that.
27, it's 35.
right,
You know, where we're eating
we may
the
have to
cost.
come back in,
And if we do come back,
right,
the cost of building a new building
or buying one, or
Or buying
whatever,
one.
buying the land,
and putting it in higher ground than
right,
here.
yeah.
My recommendation to you is I'd leave the building and equipment out of it.
Yeah, I don't think that should be part of it, so,
No, it could just be a lease.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, because that's not our business.
yeah.
And you will need
You
a
don't even
building.
know what the highest and best use of this building is.
No.
You cannot take the first offer. I use this analogy, you didn't marry the first gal or guy you dated. You know, you did?
I don't know, George thinks I did, so.
I did,
Anyway, so, Richard did,
I did, yeah.
there you go, so, yeah, I don't wanna, right now, I'm not even concerned about the building and the equipment, and I mean, I will tell you, I liked both of them.
Mhm.
I was impressed with both of them. But I think I'm all in on Muniops.
They had they had a better presentation today.
They did have a better presentation, and they told us what we needed to hear, not what we wanted to hear. They told us, they came in and told us we were in violation of TCEQ, which, is Taylor still on there? Taylor, can you find out what that is and what we need to do about that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, I was looking that up, so, obviously caught me a little bit by surprise. Richard, so we've been failing coliform samples for which well?
That's the new one.
the new one is failing?
The new one is failing, yeah. I've already talked to TCQ about it, and they recommended getting the well sanitized, which I've already done.
So they don't send us notices that
Apparently they're not that concerned.
because I haven't gotten any notices.
Yeah, no, it's not apparently they're not concerned unless you get an E. coli positive, in which we are not. So, and I already asked them, do I need to send a report? And they said, no, we're just monitoring it. So, okay.
Okay. Taylor, can you follow up on that?
Issues where this has been present, in some wells that we've established some specific treatment options. We have a well-specific guy in the office that I'm gonna discuss, with. I know we've implemented systems that we shoot chlorine down the hole on a regular basis based off of the well run time and things like that to avoid these sorts of issues. So I'll have something ready for our next scheduled meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Silly question, but if we have somebody, well, either one of them, I guess, are gonna do the testing, because both of them said they'd test.
Right.
They're required to test by the state. That's all of them will test. Yeah.
Right.
So required by the TCQ to provide those tests on a daily basis.
Oh, if
Well, if Taylor's doing it and they're doing it.
Taylor's not testing. They're doing the testing. Taylor's just monitoring it and following up with TCQ to make sure
Yeah.
we're in compliance and
They're
stuff
not-
like
they're
that.
gonna-
They're
so
still
they're
doing
gonna
all
be
the
on-
work, just like Richard is now.
That'll come off of Taylor's plate.
Yeah, it's not on Taylor's plate.
No,
He's doing it, so it must be
No, he's not doing the testing. Richard's doing the testing.
right.
following it up, he just said it.
He's following up with TCEQ, that's
So I'm
correct.
saying it would come off his plate when we get an operator.
It
No,
would not. This is
No,
something we handle on a regular basis.
Uh-uh.
When you guys have violations and issues, it kind of just gives the engineer's job to provide solutions. Most of these things require a professional engineer's feel.
Right.
In sorts of treatment processes. They can't just be installed
Okay,
by
And-
anybody.
And we normally don't test the wells. The only reason we're doing that one's because it's a brand new well and I'm required to do 12 consecutive tests.
okay.
That's why.
You don't test, you're not required to test them seriously at all?
That's a new requirement that came out with the new well. And when we put the new well in, we had to update a bunch of stuff. And that's one of the requirements.
So you're not required to do annual tests or semi-annual tests, Taylor, of the wells?
We do regular water quality samples
Yeah, that's just-
on our water
Okay,
plant.
so, okay, that's what I'm thinking, the
Yeah.
same thing.
We do that in distribution every month.
Okay. All right.
Well, not distribution, things like that on a regular basis.
Okay.
Okay. I'm all in with community ops, but I'm one vote.
So we weren't,
All right,
We're
so
not
we need
voting.
to,
I'm expressing my opinion.
so we need to add this to the agenda for next, meeting? Do we wanna do that, Davis? An official vote?
Do y'all wanna discuss it?
Do you
I
want to
mean,
discuss it any
do you
further?
wanna push it to next meeting, or do y'all wanna,
Do you want,
do you think you need more information?
No?
Okay.
okay.
I mean, I mean, we have consider proposal, I mean, you have a proposal, so you
We
can
can ask them to go
tell me
forward.
who to proceed and have a contract with on the next agenda, if y'all are, is everyone?
Well, I think we're gonna have some, I think we're gonna have to take a vote, because I think we're gonna have some for one and some for another, I think, so. Maybe
We can't
if I
vote on it
proceed.
today anyway, it's not on the agenda.
But he said we can ask him, tell him to proceed with one or the other.
Correct. But that would be next month anyway.
No, he said today. He just said we can tell him to proceed with one of them today, and then we can assign it and approve it next month. Or next, whenever our meeting is, in 2
essentially,
weeks.
that's,
2
you're
weeks.
choosing one today.
Right, we're choosing one.
Essentially, you
Yeah.
would be choosing.
To get
one.
a contract with?
Unless you're not ready.
I'm not ready. I
Okay.
don't think,
Okay.
I don't think the board's ready yet,
Okay,
or me at least, it's,
okay,
All right, so we're gonna table it till the next meeting, Davis.
Okay.
okay.
So I will, just so we're all on the same page, I hate to go to both of them and ask, or go through the process of drawing up a contract if y'all haven't essentially, chosen one, but I'm happy to do that. So
No,
No.
I would wait until, we have a meeting in what, 2 weeks?
Yep.
Wait till our meeting and then we'll tell you which one to proceed
24th.
with, and then go that route, if that's okay.
No, sounds good. I think that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All
Thank
right,
you,
talk
Davis.
to you guys in a couple of
Thank you,
weeks.
Taylor.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank y'all, you too.